Hey folks, fixing to blow your mind again. Oh, she was a chameleon. She came in many colors. She came dark as coal, white as a ghost. Some stories she was Chinese. People people argue about the color and they're not understanding the story. So if you haven't seen me before, I break down all the ancient books in the ancient Phoenician language, the worldwide language, and it seems all the books were all the same language. So you might want to pause on some of these and study a little bit, or you can go back to the my first movie where I break down Genesis 1 and explain the language. It'll look like this, but it won't have the part 10 on it. So, as Toth says, read it 100 times. If you think you know the story, you still don't know it till you learn the alchemy behind it. Uh, the biggest story I think you'll find in the writings of Josephus. You can find shorter versions that change a little bit, but if you go to this page on Wiki, the Queen of Sheba, and scroll on down to the Jewish section there and click on what I got in yellow there with the colicky of the Queen of Sheba, and it'll give you the story. So the story goes that Solomon's got all his king buddies over, and he's trying to show off how well behaved his animals are and how he can talk to them and they'll listen. And this old hoopy bird, he didn't show up. So he sent his men out searching for it, and they bring him back. He wants to know where you been, and the hoopy bird says, "Well, I've been flying around the globe trying to find somebody who doesn't know your greatness." And he says, "And I found him. The Queen of Sheba ain't never heard of you." So this hopu bird sits on the tree of life in Egypt, and the tree represents the Nile, and that bird sits in the place of Giza. And you see Alexandria is got the wings spread. And this hopo also represents the thumb of a hand. You see how it's the one digit that looks the other way. So I hope you know the story well, or you stop here and go read it, because I'd hate to spoil it for you. But Oshiba's pretty smart too, and she devises a plan to test his wisdom. And the stories talk about some alchemy and astrology and chemicals and medicines that were common knowledge in the day, but you might not know about today. So here's the clues that led me to this discovery. And this was the first one was the Josephus and the colicky. And then it was here, this Queen of Sheba today. Her name is Zawaditu. And I'm glad I run into that because it showed me how easy it is to learn this Coptic alphabet. And I learned that it's probably the first spoken language it was written. All these other all these other writings weren't the spoken language. They were alchemical writings. They were all secret. But this is the language that put a vowel, and it's got so many much more letters, but all those vowels don't matter unless you're trying to speak it. When you're just reading it, all you need is a letter. It's the same alchemy. And this was probably designed so they could put the secrets, the kiss, to give the secrets, the whisper. And that's why when you see the Pope whispering in the priest's ear, they say it's a kiss. He's giving the secret to kiss. KS. So this was the finishing clue. Was the local people said her name was Nakuti, and Josephus said her name was Nicholas, and and the rest of it was just by the grace of God. We call it Southern by the grace of God, because when I try to tell Google Nicholas of Egypt, this is what it gave me. So this would be called a pectoral, or a picture, a collar necklace, to give the color. Doesn't matter what color her skin was. The Sheba was this clue that was hung around the neck. It didn't even have to be a woman. It could have been a man wearing it. And the book tells you which picture to go to look at. It's the breath, the broad breath collar necklace. The pectoral, usually with gold inlays, the color of the sun inlays, and they shall be as frontals, and they hang low on the breast. Broad breadth, wide or spacious. The Egyptian word Yusek, or the connected secret. The Yusek collar, the connected secret color. So it's the writings that come before that would tell you who was wearing this. It could have been old green alien. It could have been a dog, a man, or a woman. It could have been a corpse. The color hung low down around the breast, and you could see these are black feathers with white tips. And this bird wasn't native to China, so they could just put the collar right up on the bird, and nobody'd understand. So this is King's 10, and it's said to be given the meaning Sheba. You can see it says it's from the locket, from the bind to give seal, to consume in the knowledge, Sheba. To consume, from to see the seal, to learn the writings. It's telling you you're going to look at the code to figure out what writings. You're going to count the colors in it to know what writings you're looking for in the other book. So the artist that did this was just trying to make it easy. Everybody's looking for a beautiful woman, and she has no features. They just put a big black smudge on her because you're looking at the necklace, at the white on black. And that's just on this one because this is the shellac of Sheba. So this would be the picture it's telling you to look at in Ecclesiastes 11:2 here. It's saying divide the bind after the shellac of Sheba. And so I guess sometimes they're telling you to go to a stone painting, and sometimes it's a shellac on canvas. So in this method of writing, if they can't come up with the word in letters, they can just send you to a picture on the wall. They can definitely give you directions to get there and tell you what you're looking for. These later books and all the New Testament was all written before Genesis because it directs you to them to get the secrets. This is the book of the secrets. And you see in Chronicles, this is the list of the milks. It's king everywhere else, but it's reigned here. And it's from the binds to give, to see the bind of Israel, and to see and divide the brown milk, the brown from the binds to give the Sheba, the sun to work life. When you see the SN, that's the fire cycles, and that's time. And when you see the SL, that's the soul, that's the bind from the sun, the heat. This pyramid at Giza was a big solar distillery. They weren't worried about burying themselves. They were living forever. And they were distilling what the people wanted all around the world. That was their riches, their knowledge of distillation. And they were cooking up drugs and alcohols that people willingly paid for, brought them much gold for it. Sometimes the Sheba you were looking for was in the basket. It was in the color to give the tools, the Ezra, the tools of Ra, the tools to begin. So your Templars and your Vatican and everybody ruling the world today, they knew this. They went and gathered information, and they tried to destroy all the artwork, but people figured this out, and still know this today. There's still paintings, and in the 15th, 16th century, there was many unknown artists. They go by the name of Morelli or Orelli, and that's the same name said to edit that book of Corey that I was talking about in the last video. The Corey, that's to give to see the first works, the fold to see the first works. They understood the ancient language and they made all this new artwork to fit that old Bible. So even though it's destroyed, you can still search today and find newer material. And these here, this series of kids, they were all medicines from out of your Bible, all from Orelli. The reason none of the Egyptian statues have noses is because the S of nose was the S of secrets. It and just a little tilt of the nose would give the clue. Uh, and they rewrote all this into hand motions and ear defects, and they hid it all in medical manuals, in shoe sales manuals. This is an old one from the Greek to tell the clues, and in the hair and in the jewelry, everything had clues in it. And if you didn't have the clue book here, if you didn't have the secrets, you didn't know. So if you're interested in learning anything about this, the best place to start is the Kabbalah. And you're not going to be able to learn anything from anybody in English. You're going to have to find the most ancient copies of these books you can. Nobody's giving this information up. Uh, the Kabbalah, the Quran. The Quran's older than the Bible. Don't believe what they tell you. They lied to you about everything, all your history. And if it makes a difference what color the people of Egypt were, all the lus were black. The slaves were called lus. They were helpers. And they were very happy slaves. And the rulers that had a lighter shade, they were purple. Same purple as the Pope is today. And he who figures it out should wear the purple and the gold on his neck. And they were purple from the purple drugs they were creating. And they would rub it all over their bodies, and they would see God all day long. This Exodus 26:26 here, this is the second recipe that I learned from the Bible. And licorice, it doesn't say licorice. This is they're directing to what book to give the recipe, and a lot of our words today evolved from that. And when they don't want you to know something, it's the shit or the nuttin'. When somebody got nosy asking what is this here, that's what they would get. That's the nut. So I use this licorice for lucid dreaming. I eat it at night, and depending on which way I sleep is which way I could direct my dreams. And if I want to go to hell and meet the devil, I'll sleep on my belly, and I damn sure meet him. So it doesn't matter what color your skin is or your education. The more education you have, the harder it is going to be to figure this out. If you already went to school and learned Latin and didn't figure out it's a fake language, you're not going to be able to get it. It's time to wake up and figure out who the real enemy is. We got to get together. We got to get all our books together, and we got to keep them from destroying this knowledge. Doesn't matter what color you are, because you're going to reincarnate, and you might be black or white next time. You never know. So good day, people. God is love. God is light. God is knowledge. Get off the fluoride. Uh, get off the aluminum in your antiperspirant. If you take the labels off your food and open the can and can't tell what it is, it's not food.